Brief history of firms. Industrial firms are recent in history. They date from after the Industrial Revolution. That's a big social and economic change that appeared first of all in the United Kingdom in the second half of the 18th century. It was essentially caused by the invention of the steam engine, that is a new source of energy that made practical the construction and operation of big plants. Before that, what we could call industrial production was actually limited to small workshops and to activity in the home of farmers in the winter. Through the system called the putting out system, where merchants gave jobs, textile work, to peasants for the winter. Here is the image of a loom to weave textile pieces in the home of a peasant. So as I said, industrial production in the Middle Ages essentially did not exist. You have to remember that at those times, say before, say the 17th century, 90% of the population produced for autoconsumption. The production of industrial wares was done in small workshops, in cities, in towns, with the exception of shipyards and the so-called manufactures of the 17th century, launched by Colbert in France. Commercial firms, modern commercial firms, are older. We can trace them to northern Italy in the 12th century. You have to remember that after the fall of the western part of the Roman Empire and the various centuries of Barbarian kingdoms, Merovingians and Carolingians, after the year 1000, Europe knew a big development, demographic, cultural, economic, and also, to some extent, political in northern Italy. The so-called Lombard League of cities that included Milan, Piacenza, Bologna, Venice, Parma, and a few more, gained their formal independence from the Holy Roman Empire at the Battle of Legnano in 1176. And after that, this region was very active in production of textile wares and in commerce. Around the same time, all over Europe appeared large trade fairs. Fairs in Piacenza, in Milano, in Lyon, in Arles, Beaucaire, well known in the Champagne regions, in Troyes, Provins, in England, and in Germany, and also in Spain, all over Europe, up to Scandinavia and Russia. And at these fairs, big merchants traded wares, and at the same time also invented what's called the bill of exchange, as well as new accounting techniques, what's called double entry accounting, that was invented little by little in the 12th and 13th century, essentially, and we shall study that in later lessons, to account for value that is not money, but yet that should be recorded into the accounting process, measuring the well-being of a firm. The first manual describing double entry accounting was written by Luca Pacioli in 1494. But it would be a mistake to believe that Luca Pacioli invented double entry accounting. That is not correct. It was invented by no one in particular, evolved from commercial activity, as I said, in the 12th and 13th century. To finish with, let's talk briefly about modern banking. It appeared also around the same time, perhaps a little later, when some big merchants lending money eventually became bankers. It was often a Jewish activity because Christians were forbidden by their church to lend with interest. So it was a Jewish activity and also Lombard activity. The Lombards were also active in banking. That's why all over Europe, in big cities, there's a Lombard street that usually was a street with banks in the medieval time.